Hi and welcome along to After Effects tutorials. Today we're going to be playing with the puppet tool, which is a fantastic tool that we can use to create some very cool looking animations. So this is something I've done a little earlier, and we've got this lion roaring, if you like. So he's coming through and he's roaring. It's super slow-mo style animation. So what's going on here is I've actually cut up this photograph into a series of pieces that I thought might look good when I animate them, and I've used the puppet tool to just make certain areas of those things move around. So how do we do it? Firstly, the first thing we'd want to do is jump over into Photoshop. Now I've got one already set up over here, and what I've done is just isolated with a selection out each of the pieces that I think might want to animate. So he's got all cut up, and everything that I will be wishing to move I can bring into After Effects. Okay, so I'm going to hop back to After Effects and I'm going to import that file. So I'm going to import the file, and I'll find that guy there. So I think that's him. I don't want footage, of course. I want the composition so I can have all the layers available to me. And in we go. Let's see what we get. Okay, so I want all the bits and pieces, all the editable layer styles. And there he is there. So let's throw him open, and here he is here, all named and layered and everything like that. So really, the thing what we need to do is use the pin tool, and that's this guy up at the top here in the options bar. So what I'm going to do, and just to be aware that we can show the mesh once we establish it, and we can have a number of meshes. So obviously the greater amount of triangles or mesh, the finer you'll be able to do things. Okay, so I'm just going to be clicking in certain areas around this fellow here, Mr. Reagan, and I'm clicking on those areas. Imagine if I'm putting a thumbtack into a part of the area that won't move. Okay, I'm going to anchor those pieces down there. I'm going to put a mesh at the top here, and I think I might just actually have a few more triangles. I think I might need a few more. And now I've got some holding meshes at the bottom and one at the top, and I can then drag him out and make him sort of nod his head if I like. So as you can see, it can kind of be memory intensive, depends on the image. But of course, to create this as an animation, we need to record keyframes. So I've created my mesh 1, and I need to just look at, I'm going to bring that up to 100%. I'm in my mesh, I need my deform drop down. So this can be kind of scary, because as many pins you have, you'll have puppet pins, or so it can end up being a lot. So just so for the ease of this thing, I'm holding shift here to select them all, and I can open them all at the same time. Okay, so this is the starting point. So by now you should be familiar with the keyframing. Okay, so I always keyframe from the start, and then I'm going to come out to some point in time here. Let's see how far that's going to go. That'll do me, that's fine. I'm going to then get that piece there. Well, I got them all there, didn't I? Clicking off, clicking back on, and now I can just get a subtle movement like so. So the kind of thing, it's going to be a fairly subtle movement. You don't really want to overdo it unless that is the kind of thing you're going for. Okay, so that's that piece there. I'm not too unhappy with that, so I'm just going to select all and press U on my keyboard to close them all up. So I've got the hand here now, and that might look good if we do some meshing on that. So again, I've got my hand layer, I've got my puppet tool, and I'm thinking that I want to pin the very bottom of this hand. I don't want it to sort of skip around off or come into the shot. So I'm going to put a few pins there, and it's a bit like physics. Wherever you put a pin, that's not going to move. So if I can like articulate, not unlike a doll, and I'm sort of picking those points of articulation. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to come through to some point in the future here in my timeline, and again dropping down. Sorry about, there's just never enough room on After Effects with all the palettes that you need. So hand, mesh, dropping down, and I've got my deform drop downs. Now I've got 6 pins in there. I'm going to open them up, pressing the letter U. So I've got my first keyframe, and I'm creating my second keyframe. Okay, can be a bit scary, but I might just move. Whoops, I did it again. It's very easy to do that. So he's just going to wag his finger a little bit. Maybe he's going to something like that. Okay, so he's going to. Now it's just a very, very subtle movement, which I think works the best. So not too bad. Okay, look, I'm going to just zoom out of there. Have a look at that, and I'm just going to press spacebar. So I could spend a lot longer on that. I could do a little bit of work on the mouth and the shoulders, perhaps. That might be a thing to do. So that's just going to give it that extra sort of, well, believability, if you like, if you can believe that. So I'm going to put a few maybe on his shirt, like so. Down here we don't want these areas to move. Very much the doll principle. So where you see points, they will be points from articulation. So I've got, once again, I've got my puppets, and my puppet pins I should say, my meshes and my deform drop downs, and as you can see I've got quite a few going on here. I'll open those up, my keyframes are in place, and then I'm coming out to somewhere there where the action sort of ends, and we might just, well, I did it again. Just drop a little bit, and all these little subtleties will catch your eye, and you'll sort of think, is that a video, is that a photograph? So you don't want to have to, you really don't have to do too much to achieve that look. So closing that up, and we'll hit the space bar, and yeah, okay, so that's not too bad. I could loop that, or I could make it go back to the start, but there's your puppet pin. I'm having a lot of fun with that at the moment. Very nice tool to use. So just keep those movements subtle and not like make it too unrealistic, and I think you'll be doing good things. So look, I hope that was interesting, and I'll see you next time.